The drama surrounding Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul has grown far beyond a simple fight announcement. It has become a cultural moment, a collision between legacy and spectacle, between an Olympic gold medalist forged in sold-out stadiums and a modern provocateur who has learned how to bend attention, money, and controversy to his will. Few fighters in boxing history, not named Canelo Alvarez, have been able to pack 70,000 people into an arena on demand. Yet for Anthony Joshua, this has become routine. He is not just a heavyweight boxer. He is an icon, a global brand, and a man whose presence alone turns events into milestones. And now, that presence is being pointed directly at Jake Paul. From the moment this matchup entered the conversation, it split opinion clean down the middle. Some see it as absurd, others see it as inevitable. But nobody can deny the electricity surrounding it. This is not a quiet 8-rounder tucked away on a card. This is the most hotly debated non-title fight in years. Precisely because it forces boxing to confront uncomfortable questions about legitimacy, entertainment, and the future of the sport. Anthony Joshua represents everything traditional boxing holds sacred: pedigree, discipline, experience earned through brutal nights against the best heavyweights on the planet. Jake Paul represents something else entirely: confidence unburdened by tradition, a willingness to take risks others avoid, and an uncanny ability to make the world watch. Joshua enters this fight with an aura that cannot be manufactured. Olympic gold medalist, former unified heavyweight champion, a man who has shared the ring with giants, knockout artists, and champions. Even critics who question whether he is still at his absolute peak acknowledge the scale of his experience. Years of elite competition have sharpened his instincts, taught him how to survive storms, how to adjust under pressure, and how to impose himself physically and mentally. That kind of knowledge cannot be rushed. It is learned through damage, through failure, through recovery. It is what separates champions from contenders. Jake Paul, however, is not approaching this fight as a novelty act. What has surprised many observers is the seriousness with which he has embraced this challenge. The bravado remains, but beneath it there is a visible focus, a sense that he understands the magnitude of what he is attempting. He is not pretending Anthony Joshua is just another name. He is framing this as an opportunity to shock the world, to inspire a generation that grew up watching him outside the ring rather than inside it. That belief, dangerous or not, is genuine, and belief matters in combat sports. Analysts have spent countless hours breaking down how this fight might unfold, and most agree on one thing: the early rounds will be volatile. Joshua's power is real, proven, and devastating. Paul's confidence and unpredictability create chaos. On paper, the physical differences are stark. Joshua typically walks into the ring around 111 kilograms. Paul hovers closer to 90. That gap is not cosmetic. It translates into punching power, resistance to impact, and control in close exchanges. When heavyweights land clean, consequences follow. This is why so many voices have described this as not just the hardest fight of Paul's career, but the most dangerous. There are those who argue the timing is wrong, that Jake Paul should have taken another heavyweight fight first, should have tested himself incrementally rather than leaping straight into the deep end. From a traditional development standpoint, that argument makes sense, but Jake Paul has never followed traditional paths. His entire career has been built on acceleration, on skipping steps, on forcing situations into existence rather than waiting for permission. In that sense, this fight is perfectly on brand. It makes people talk, it makes people uncomfortable, and it forces boxing to pay attention. From Joshua's perspective, the logic is brutally simple. Belts do not pay mortgages. Legacy does not guarantee future security. This fight offers an enormous payday against an opponent most expect him to beat convincingly. After years of punishing battles, after setbacks and rebuilds, there is a rational appeal in taking a fight that promises massive financial reward without the same level of championship risk. At 36 years old, Joshua is not ancient, but he is experienced enough to understand that careers do not last forever. If someone offers generational money, fighters listen. Yet the unease remains, even among those who understand the business logic. There is discomfort with the idea of this being a fully sanctioned fight rather than an exhibition. The difference matters. Exhibitions carry an unspoken agreement of restraint. Sanctioned bouts do not. In a real fight, instincts take over. Power is not pulled. Mistakes are punished. And this is where concerns about Jake Paul's health and long-term career become impossible to ignore. Joshua is not a retired legend returning for a novelty payday. He is still a dangerous heavyweight who has spent the last decade fighting the very best. The unpredictability is what fuels the intrigue. Some believe Joshua's camp might advise a measured approach, not because Joshua lacks the ability to finish early, but because unnecessary risk benefits no one. Others believe that such restraint would be impossible. Fighters of Joshua's caliber are wired to dominate. Once the bell rings, calculation often gives way to instinct. This tension between control and violence sits at the heart of the debate. There is also the evolving perception of Jake Paul himself. What began as dismissal has shifted into reluctant acknowledgement. He has faced legitimate fighters. He has shown power. He has improved. While many still question the circumstances surrounding some of his bouts, fewer are willing to say he cannot fight at all. That shift alone has elevated the significance of this matchup. This is no longer just about a YouTuber stepping into a boxing ring. It is about whether modern promotion can accelerate legitimacy faster than traditional pathways ever allowed. Add to that the streaming and promotional complexities, the whispers of major platform involvement, and the sense that this deal is no longer hypothetical but imminent, and the picture becomes even clearer. This fight is happening because it makes sense in the modern sports economy. Attention is currency, and few matchups generate it like this one. In the end, this is a fight defined by contradiction. It is logical and absurd, dangerous and lucrative, traditional and disruptive. Anthony Joshua stands as a gatekeeper of heavyweight reality, a reminder of what elite boxing looks like at its highest level. Jake Paul stands as a challenger, not just to Joshua, but to the sport's unwritten rules about how fighters are supposed to earn their place. Whether this ends in a swift, emphatic statement from Joshua or a moment that forces boxing to reassess its assumptions, one thing is certain: people will watch, arguments will rage, and the outcome will echo far beyond 8 rounds. Now it's over to you. Do you see this as smart business or unnecessary danger? Does Jake Paul deserve credit for taking this risk, or is this a step too far? And what does this fight say about where boxing is headed next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep, story-driven breakdowns of the biggest fights and controversies in combat sports, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.